Welcome into our lives.
And welcome to the Expanders Club podcast.
We're so happy to have you.
Join us as we embark on a journey of deep exploration, soul searching, and asking the hard questions.
With the goal of truly understanding the most aligned, empowered, and purposeful versions of ourselves.
We want to live an extraordinary life, and we're willing to dig deep to find out what it takes.
Buckle up. You're about to meet a new version of yourself, an extraordinary one. Hello, friends. Welcome to another special episode of the Expanders Club called Ask a Psychic, where my lovely friend Christina and I, psychic medium, spiritual teacher, medical intuitive, do a live psychic reading. Hello, Christina.
Oh, this was so juicy. It was really special to see Gina Kowalik, who is our guest today, came in with some big questions. And I think we're noticing a theme with our guests at this point of how many people are on the verge of big change and transformation, particularly around their career and, you know, what's next and really their evolution. And so Gina came in with a great question around like, how do I know what to focus on? I have so much going on. And what was really amazing was seeing her start with this really kinetic kind of energy, this squirrely energy. And by the end, she was so tuned in and dropped in and calm. Her whole face looked different. Her energy was better. And so we're hoping today that you, audience here, get a little taste of that and can feel, no matter what you're feeling, a relaxation. And another cool thing that came up was a couple of themes that have been coming up this month around shedding and shedding skin like a snake. We were in the time of a snake, and now we're coming up in mid-February where there's a big change into the fire horse energy, and no surprise that came through for Gina today as well. So let's talk about that today, what that means, what we're seeing, tune into collective consciousness and how to help our audience here.
Yes, I love that. I'm so done with the year of the snake in every way, in every way. But yes, I'm seeing people, and I want to remind people too, you know, you and I were recording this kind of toward the end of January. I feel like there's a little bit of a panic too, because people are like, wait, we're in a new year, like we're supposed to be having things figured out. And the reminder is like, this is an integration, like final steps phase. Like this new energy doesn't come in until mid-February.
Yeah. Okay. So for people who don't know, they're like, what are you talking about? What is a snake? Is this astrology? Can you give a little insight into that?
Yeah, so I believe the astrology lines up with this, although the year of the snake heading into the year of the fire horse, that is actually how the Chinese like name and look at the energy of their years. So the year of the snake, many of you probably felt this, was about transformation, was about shedding, was about removing the things that aren't working, because we are headed toward this big evolution. And for anyone listening, you've probably leaned into the energy versus fighting it. We can see there's still plenty of the world fighting it, right? Or going about change and transformation in a much different way than we would. But as you mentioned to me, Christina, you're seeing in your readings, and I am too, a lot of people just, this is the moment for packing the final baggage is kind of how I see it, right? Like get that final shit in the bag, in the suitcase, slam it shut and like leave it.
And then burn it.
Yeah, exactly. Burn it, throw it into the bottom of the ocean, like whatever you need to do. Yeah. But like, there's a lot of triggering stuff coming up right now, because it is like those of us who are on a mission, we're not taking this stuff into we'll call it the new year, the new energy, the new chapter.
Yeah, that's so well said. And like, so just to talk about some patterns that I'm seeing is, and if you're feeling this way, you're right on time. First of all, the overall feeling. So it feels very intense, like it is ramped up, and that is by design. The things that are coming at you really intensely right now, where you feel this urgency to like make a decision to let it go or what to do or whatever it might be, like that is because there's like a final push of shedding, of like really facing shadows, of facing things that you're like, like, I think I need to be done with this relationship, this codependence. There's a lot of like, I just had a client being like, I just woke up and was like, I need to stop vaping. And I just like went to CVS, got a patch, and like that was that. Like I've been trying to do it forever, and now it
Yeah.
just like arrived. A lot of people are talking about feeling like friendships that they've had for a long time are naturally coming to conclusion. What I'm loving about seeing this is it's actually quite soft. There isn't a big drama that comes around it, but there's a letting go where it just feels like in their heart, like this is done. And it also feels like a collaboration. In other words, I'm not
Mhm.
seeing clients being like, I have to say something. It's sort of like both of them are deciding, but without the drama. Another thing that's happening is virus. There's this virus going around the world right now that is forcing people to be sick. And what I have tuned into is that there's a holding of our inner child that we want. It's a really lonely thing to be knocked out for 10 days. It's scary to watch
Mhm.
your body change symptoms or get worse or have to, really stop. But what happens is, and Joe Dispenza talks about this. I don't know if you're a fan of his or not.
I
I'm a
am,
fan.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. But I like his concepts. And he talked about when he was younger, he used to love when he got fevers and stayed home. And I thought, oh, yeah, he just wants to stay home because he gets a break. But no, he actually liked being in the like feeling of delusion, of like feeling like in between worlds. When you have a fever,
Mhm.
you're sort of stopped, like slow down, nothing really makes sense, you're not maybe eating the same way. And he used it as a portal at a very young age to like go into another dimension and process things. And I thought that was so interesting because it feels true about this illness is going on. It's forcing people to be in these other dimensions and be held by this divine masculine, divine feminine, like mother and father to come and like nourish you and bring you
Mhm.
through to the other side of this portal. And then your cells are changed. I mean, every time
Yes.
you get sick, you upgrade your immune system. So
I think that's very relatable for any of us who have chronic illness and have been in that place many times. You start to realize, like, oh, this is, I don't necessarily want to use the word gift because that's not always how it feels in it, but you come out the other side changed. Like
yeah.
you cannot. So yes, I think that's a very beautiful light. I have a lot of know a lot of people who are literally purging like stomach virus, throwing up.
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
think it's important too, like you said, like lean into it because this is a time where those things kind of fall apart with more ease than they might if you continue to resist them, right?
Yeah. Definitely. And, what's interesting is I'm thinking about the letting go and the shedding and like how we naturally think of that, but also ramping up at the same time are these depths of connections. It's more clear, like not only what you're letting go, but what your life could be if you replaced
Yes.
this relationship, right? And so that's coming. I've seen reconnecting with family members, like feeling more stable to be able to lean into things that previously have felt uncomfortable. While there's a shedding of maybe, with Gina's session, she's built her whole business around this concept of play. But as she's letting go of it, she's also finding this whole new concept of the next evolution of that. So
Hmm.
it feels stabilized in a way. So it's not
Yes.
being let go and shed and then like, what do I do? It's like it's being shed, but this whole energy of new and momentum and fire is coming like right
It
together with
feels
it.
good. It feels
Yeah.
good. Are there any final things you're letting go of?
Um, yeah, I think for me, the big themes are health. So
Hmm.
I am looking at the ways that my story is that my energy is low or my chronic illness, flare-ups, things like that. And that inroad has given me this huge like pivot into the way that I look and have a relationship with time.
Hmm.
If my
Mm.
story, I am like tripping out right now. Like I feel like when I wake up and I go right to my sauna and meditate, and then I go to work out, and then I go to eat, and then I go to journal and listen to an expansive podcast or something. All of a sudden I look at the clock and I'm like, hasn't it been 8:15 for like 2 hours? Like it's crazy when I give myself the care that I thought like my health will improve if I do these things. All of a
Hmm.
sudden, it's like I just genuinely want to do it from a very calm and excited place. And time, and my ideas about time are just totally flipped on its head. It's really cool. What about you?
Yeah, I love that. Time, the relationship to time feels like a big theme that I see a lot of the more evolved souls really examining right now,
Hmm.
right? And I think that wherever you are in your journey, like it's coming for you eventually, right? Like
Hmm.
that's the next dimension for you and I and many others is like, how do we actually relate to and see time? And it's something that's been on my mind for a long time. And I'm letting go of just any of those final excuses of things that are in the way of getting me to exactly where I want to be, right? Like I've
Oh
been
yeah.
saying for years, this is a good example. I've been saying for years, I want peace. And yet I've been allowing things to get in the way of my peace, right? And I've cleared a lot of them out, but there were still a few that I was holding on to making excuses, one of the biggest ones being social media. And I'm
Hmm.
not, I also have the excuse of like, okay, I'm not a big user, so I'm not on Facebook, I'm not on Twitter or TikTok. I'm only on Instagram, right? And
Hmm.
I have a couple businesses that I promote, and so it makes, it's a necessity. But I recently just kind of made some really big changes and sat with that and said, what's the actual truth? And gave myself enough time away from it to really see and experience the value. And the value was, you know, shocking. The value was peace. I got peace and I said, whoa, what the hell? Peace is better than I even thought it could be. And what would I trade for that? Like, is there anything on social media that is of equal or greater value to this? And as I sat with it and I still sat there and made up the excuses of, well, I have businesses, no,
Hmm.
no, there's
Hmm.
nothing. So I'm only like 30 days in, but I was 25 days off Instagram completely. And now about a week in, I've just completely changed my relationship to it. It's about, I only use it Monday through Thursday. I'm on there for a very specific purpose, maximum 3 to 5 minutes a day. Like, and Christina, I don't need it. I don't miss it. I feel so peaceful. The time I've gotten back,
Yeah.
and the way I can relate to time, the regulation of my emotions, the amount of time I have in my own thoughts, and as you know,
Mhm.
that time equates to also our access to knowledge and wisdom and other dimensions. Like I'm fucking living. I am living. Like, and it was so easy. Whereas this is something
Yeah,
I've
that's
been
the
saying
thing.
for years, right? I want to change my
Yeah.
relationship. I know this is completely unnecessary. This is not adding to my life in the ways I want to think it is. Like, this is taking up time, which is so valuable for years. And I
Mhm.
just committed to it, and it was so easy to let it fall away.
It's crazy. Like that's such a perfect example. Like it's all of a sudden something clicks. It's something that you've been wanting, journaling, vision boarding, and it's like it's created this tension, or feeling like, oh, we're failing, or why can't I do it? Like I'm trying. And what you're talking about is it's not that your piece came absent of action. You actually took
Hmm.
steps to
Hmm.
go towards the piece, but those steps didn't feel forceful or, whatever. You're making me realize a more vulnerable thing that shifted for me is dating. I've been saying for a while now, like, oh, I want to go on dates, and I just don't feel inspired to do that. And now I'm talking to like seven guys,
Yeah, girl. Yeah.
are over. I'm having
Ooh.
so much fun. I'm just like, they're all different, and it's just so exciting. And I just feel like, even my mom was talking to me yesterday. She's like, something, Jim Corner has changed. Like, you're going for it. I was like, but I miss this part of myself. I'm a sensual, sexual being, like, I
Yes, you
want
are
to work.
Scorpio, girl.
And I feel like I haven't been inspired to be that way. And there's like no shame, I'm just sitting there and I'm still being, in integrity and in intention, but um, I feel just lit up, like to like see this side of myself. Same thing with working out. Like I'm like, there I am. I love this actually,
Hmm. hmm
Um, so there's that. So, more updates we'll see. But right now, I'm just really
Absolutely.
enjoying the process. again and the fun of it. And they're like all over the world. Like I've matched with people and, talked to people in like Denmark and then North Carolina and Portland, Maine. I mean, they're everywhere. And
Love it.
so San Francisco, it's just California, and it's just like the world has opened
Hmm.
geographically.
Yeah.
Um, I want to ask you something else if this is true too, because there's another really big theme that's unless you want to say anything about my love life, feel
No, I
free.
mean, I just want all the juicy details, you know?
Yeah, we'll get them. Um, and okay, so another theme that's been coming up, I can't tell you how many people have said, I need to clean my garage, or I finally
Mm.
need to unpack these things, or all of a sudden my house looks full of clutter where it didn't. Like this deep urge. And now listen, you're nesting, so maybe you're an
Yes,
example of
yes.
this. I personally haven't had this, pretty minimalistic anyway, and kind of have that practice throughout time. But the amount of my clients that are coming in and being like, I know I want to do this project. They're not quite there at like how to tackle because it feels very overwhelming. But they're like so newly motivated. Like it's time to do this. I need to do it now. Any advice that you have for people that are like, how do I get started on this project? I have a bunch, but I'm curious what yours are.
I mean, I love that it's such a practical example, and I love I see a lot of my visuals in like the literal housekeeping. Like I said, pack up your suitcase, clean out your house, like we're moving on up. Um, I have seen that, but I think what it comes down to is people are feeling this push, they're feeling the momentum, they're feeling a call for change and bigger and greater, but it's like they're not sure where to get the clarity, right? The
Mhm.
clarity hasn't come yet, and we always think that like this push needs to be followed by action is what we put value on, right? And I think
Yeah.
sometimes it's not action. Sometimes it's sitting with it and digging in. And I know we've talked about this before, and feeling it out and seeking, that's why a lot of people come to us when they're looking for clarity, and we can kind of give them some paths to go to start to look down and examine. But it's not always like, yes, okay, if your house is feeling cluttered, clean it out. Great, you're going to feel a lot better. And in that process, don't listen to a podcast. Like, put on some quiet music, and I bet you're going to gain a bunch of clarity too. When you have 2 hours to just do what's in front of you, you're going to have some real messages come through, right? So
Yeah. It
maybe
is a
the
spiritual
literal,
experience.
yeah, the literal call to like start a project in your house is not necessarily about the project, but it's about moving your hands and keeping yourself busy so that you can hear some clarity and some messages coming through.
I love that. Yeah, cleaning up is really, it's an ancient spiritual practice. This is something that you can find in every culture that goes and, releases and sheds things and
Hmm.
items and sweeps, and there's so many examples of that. And not surprisingly, what comes up when we look at the blocks that people have when I'm in session and I'm like, what's blocking, this? Like, there's some stories that they're carrying from their lineage, like a father that's a hoarder came up and it was like there was
Mm.
shame and, pressure that they felt that like, am I, like my dad, am I putting this stress on my children? And, releasing that and being like, no, of course not. Like, that's not at all what is true for you. And then there's a lot of people who are very gifted and intuitive, but they're also neurodivergent, like they have ADHD. And so the way that the world is structured doesn't work for people like me and us. It's like we want to go and follow our passions and do this and that, but it's hard to like start a task when we think about the outcome of like, well, we have to get this whole garage done. And the truth is, you can just set a timer for 10 minutes and say, whatever I can get done in 10 minutes, that's all I need to do today,
Yeah.
you know? Um, and then the other thing that comes up is like, computers are breaking a lot, technology is breaking a lot, and they have to like be replaced. That's another big theme. Again, if our audience relates to any of this, please tell us. We want to know. We love seeing
Yes.
patterns and themes. But, one client said, but that's what I wrote my book on. And I was like, that makes sense. So can we have a sacred ceremony around releasing the computer? And then it was like, but where does your book live? Really, where does your
Mm-hmm.
book live? It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't live anywhere. It lives to the universe. It belongs to the creative source. Um, and your book's going to evolve. Where are you going to edit it? And so there's this attachment to physical things, and um, this missing the step of honoring something that you're letting go. And it's the same thing with friendship. You don't have to say, well, fuck them, I'm done with this friendship. You get to say, I love them. What a gift they were in my life
Mm-hmm.
for this period of time. I release this as a sacred ceremony to say thank you. I'm just so grateful. And just bring that into your spirit and your heart is such an important part. We forget in our culture of letting go. It doesn't have to be like, bye, you're done. It's like,
Right.
no, thank you. Thank you for
Yes.
this. And I'm open to receive what's next.
Yeah, we're evolving. There's no stopping it, right? Like we many of us listening are consciously doing it, right? But no matter
Mhm.
what, I think we're going to see spontaneous evolution from the general collective. And again, it's like let it all shed. Whatever's calling to be shed, let it go
Mhm.
because there's bigger, brighter, you know, more magical things coming and it's right around the corner.
Mhm. It's true. Ah, that feels complete.
Yes, excited for everyone to hear today's episode.
Yeah.
It's very relatable. Gina's very relatable. She has the what's becoming a classic story of going from corporate to following her heart into something that is much more meaningful. And we just talk about that evolution and that journey, give her permission to really be in that journey instead of having to have everything figured out immediately. And it's, yeah, I think it'll be really relatable and feel really good for a lot of people to hear.
Yeah, and this theme of like not doing it alone, right? I think, as a solopreneur, like we are evolving, and self-awareness isn't always, it's in relationship to other people and other things. And so
Hmm.
her recognizing like, look, you're on in a session with the two of us, we're helping support you. What are other ways that you can be in community? And remember that it's not alone. If you don't have a meditation practice right now, then can you do that with other people, where are groups popping up.
Yeah.
Um, and one thing I can share for anyone listening that's available, Gina mentioned a few times she's part of intuition practice circles that I host, and they're really potent ways to listen into your intuition, to learn these concepts, to be able to be empowered to do this for yourself and practice with other people. And people are always nervous when they come in. They're like, I don't think I can do it. How can I, read other people or use my intuition? And the power that comes through and the
Mm,
beautiful brilliance. And Gina's a perfect example of she could barely hear anything. And now she's like, getting so many downloads and so much clarity, as we saw in the episode. She was listening and hearing things before we even
yes.
shared. So I have the next virtual circle. People join from all over the world. It's starting February 15th, and you can reach out to me if you'd like to join via either DM, we'll put that in the show notes, or spiritual-curiosity.com, or just shoot me an email, christina.trefero@spiritual-curiosity.com, and I'd love to have you.
Yes. If there's anything that you do for yourself, give yourself, like, get in touch with your intuition. I mean, it's just the most important tool that you can give yourself access to, and then everything else it's your path to clarity, right?
Uh-huh.
And there's a lot of work in between there and after there too, but like that is, I've said it before, like I feel like that's one of our God-given rights, if you
Yeah.
will. It's a sense that we have just lost access to our intuition, and it's life-changing. So I definitely recommend Christina as a guide back home to your intuition. And this episode will come out early February. That means I'm like maximum 2 months out from delivering a baby and going through that portal. So I have limited sessions left before I, transform and go on my little maternity leave. definitely recommend grabbing one up. They've been really fun and really potent because, as you know, Christina, it's two souls, and to everything that you're getting. I'm a 2-for-1 deal at the moment. And this little guy definitely loves to share messages and has some input. So it's been a lot of fun. So if you're feeling called, you can find more info linked in my Instagram at _Brooke_Harris. Please book in one of those last sessions. Would love to see you and would love to bring you clarity.
Yay. Beautiful. Thank you, everyone. We're so excited for you to listen.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hey, Gina. Hello. So excited to have you here. I love you dearly, and I'm really excited to support you and what you're going through in this moment. Um, Share with our audience kind of who you are and what you're bringing to this session today. What's a question on your mind that we can help you with?
Um, I'm Gina. I live in a weird, small little wellness community called Serenbe in Georgia. And I have in the last 8 months left my corporate career of 15 years and have kind of opened, I think, a new book, a new chapter for my life. And it has just been the beginning of playing around and figuring out what's next. This project, I'm calling it Life at Play. And today it's mostly in the form of a newsletter. And I'm just trying to build a community and share with them a different way to go about life than just corporate world and success world that society has trained us of. And lately I've been feeling scattered, like in the sense of like pulled to so many exciting opportunities. I feel sometimes like a little squirrel, like, oh my gosh, here. And this year, even just like thinking about like the next 6 months, this year, I would love your guys' help on any themes or things that I'm meant to lean into and focus on to help me achieve my goals of building this community and helping the right people that I can help find me faster. And anything that I should say no to or stop chasing and getting distracted with, because lately I'm feeling little bit of just like confusion on there's so much excitement and I'm being pulled in so many directions and knowing there's only one of me and we need to, we need to make a bet on certain things for my business and my future. And it's very important to me to have the business as well as my personal life blended and mesh and feel really beautiful and yummy together. I'm trying to get out of that corporate 9 to 5 trap and the work equals your worth. So that's very important to me in all of this.
Thank you. That's so great. We're going to start with your body and emotions and get some information there. Okay.
Gina, I love how you express squirrel energy because that is so what I'm feeling in your energy field. Chaos is not the right word. It's excitement. It's like one thing to the next, but not finishing the other thing. I will tell you, like my body feels like it's buzzing. I can feel your energy. I'm 30 weeks pregnant, and my baby, I'm feeling him hiccup for the very first time ever from your energy. And what I'm also feeling this like interesting tension. It's jaw tension, but it's different than what I usually feel. For people, it's like a tension that's going up the edge of your jaw. For those of you watching, you can see into the core bone of your jaw, and then it's almost like clogging your throat. And that feels like it feels like you're holding back something. Like there's not a full truth that you're speaking. Like you speak very clearly, you have clarity on kind of what you're trying to build, but there's this layer that's deeper that you are almost afraid to admit to yourself, but you haven't fully admitted it to yourself, and you certainly haven't brought it out to the public or said it out loud.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what is this?
Okay, I can journey a little bit into that for you. So Brooke is taking care of that upper part of your face, and I'll speak to that a little bit, which is um, honestly, what I'm hearing is like you don't always need to smile through
Mm,
what you share. That your smile is radiant, but it's not always authentic. And
mm,
when you're on and performing or sharing, it doesn't always have to be with a smile, is the message I'm getting. And it will relax that part of your face to just, it's almost like a softening. And you can be excited and connecting without being almost positive. It's also saying, interestingly, say less, but with higher quality. And
mm-hmm,
so when you're
mm-hmm.
sharing, not necessarily feeling like you have to distill the whole experience, but to actually get to the root of what the like feeling is that you're trying to connect on faster. And then, oh, go ahead. Brooke has something to
No,
say about
that's
that.
because that was so perfect and exactly it, Christina. That's what I'm feeling. It's like there's an uncertainty in too many words. There's like this lack of trust in self or worthiness to share this stuff, and that's where it's coming out in so many words because you're just like, let me make sure I've covered it all. And but that's exactly what I'm feeling, Christina. Sorry, I just got excited.
No, please. We're all excited because Gina's exciting, and
I
that's
know.
never gonna go away, where we're like refining since that's what you're asking. And then if I travel down your body, interestingly, it's like your whole from like your belly button to your pelvis and like upper thigh is gone.
Mm,
And it's like you're building from the top down, and what your body is saying is start to really sink into like that sacral energy, almost like your womb space is open and this creative like birthing for the first time, but you're not drawing your creative energy there enough. It's really in your solar plexus and head, and what it's asking for is like pay attention. It's like you can't build, you know, a Lego man without, standing them up on that core part of you. And so we really want to focus on sourcing your power there, really bringing in your creative energy. And what that will do naturally is slow you down, bring your intention into the way that you speak. And what I'm hearing to your guides say is like, make sure she knows it's not a script that she has to put down in order to speak what she knows. It's like, it's going to come naturally through source. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, and there's almost to me, I'm seeing and feeling this. There's a little bit of a there's no way to explain it other than dark pit, but I don't mean that in a scary way from where you've it's like you skipped over a chunk of the emotional piece of what you need to go through to get from A to B. Like you're like, okay, I'm in corporate, now I'm leaving, and now I know there's a lot of work in between there, but now I'm on to the next thing, and like you're keeping it at this like high emotional level where all is good, all is exciting, and there's still some depth that you need to dig into and some emotions that just need to be seen and released.
Yeah, it feels like a proving to someone something that you're still trying to prove it to men specifically. It feels like a masculine energy where it's like a production. And I know you, so I can speak to like you have done so much growth on this part. You have slowed down incredibly well. Like your system has come through such a nervous system regulation in so many ways. But since you're asking like what level that you can get to, it's like there's still a level of proving that if you take it away, you will be left with a feeling of, oh shit, and that's not comfortable for you. But there's magic and alchemy there, which will help you bring your truth into being. And it also will help relate you to other people.
And there's so much logic that you're still playing in, right? Like there's still a
Even
lot of the
though,
mind being used. Where I think that little bit, that piece that you're afraid to say or afraid to admit or holding back on is truly how magical you are and how much access to magic that you have. And we'll use the word magic to, it can mean spirituality. It means all the things that Christina and I love and talk about. But I feel like you know about a specific gift that you have and you're afraid to admit it fully to yourself, and you're afraid to say it out loud. And it's feels like a worthiness thing of like, but who am I to believe that I have that?
Hmm. Yeah, beautifully said. Let's move up to the spirit because I feel like we're naturally ascending to her soul for communication. So, um, yeah,
Yeah.
I interesting what's coming up is your romantic relationship. That there's something in ideas that you're starting to learn about love and connection that feels very tender and exciting to you that doesn't always fit in the box of what you talk about or want to share, but there's a way for you to start experimenting with that world. Now, I'm also hearing there's a level of, care and privacy and your partner not wanting, like your relationship to be out there and in public. But your soul is kind of like, yeah, but that's part of my truth and what I'm going through as well. And so, how to do that in a way that is in integrity and honors your marriage, but kind of sprinkling in little lessons that you're learning about yourself as like a sensual being, a sexual being, a loving being, a romantic being. Like there's this whole beautiful part of you that is blossoming right now and has an opportunity to. And you might not even have words for it yet, but that's kind of the yummy part of why it will be connective to your audience is because you're figuring some stuff out and what that looks like. Does that make sense? I'm going to pause because we haven't heard from you in a minute.
Well, yes, it all makes sense. I mean, I'm overwhelmed. I don't even know where to interject. I mean, the relationship stuff, yes, 100%. Greg and I have, I feel like, had a really hard year last year. And we've been, for the first time in a long time, like really trying to pour into ourselves and like rebuild things after like a year of feeling like we just like paused dating each other. Like we were co-parenting and doing all the things, but life got very lifey for a while there. And so I feel like I'm getting to know him in a new way lately, and it's been beautiful. I mean, what you were talking about before of knowing I have a gift you're working on, and like in my mind, I'm just like, wait, what is it? Like there's not something that I'm like, oh my God, I have this gift. But maybe there is, and I just haven't come to it. The dark pit stuff makes so much sense to me because like I had two babies in the last 5 years, and I always feel like there's just a lot of repairing that needs to be done. I remember after my first, like, it was even like the way I can move my stomach is different. Like I don't have as much control and stuff over it. But that always makes sense. The men stuff you were talking about makes sense. I feel like that's a big thing I'm trying to unlearn is my whole life success to me has been like proving I can be one of the boys in the corner office and has been realizing and waking up that like I don't even want that. I don't want to be in the room with those guys. Like, ew, I can't think of a worse thing. Like who I was acting like I was for years. I now like look and I'm like, you were pretending to be someone you weren't because you thought you had to be that way to be successful and make money and live a good life. And now I've been in just kind of like a great unlearning of all of that. And it's even funny now to reflect back that like I could just never go back to who I was pretending to be before, even if that means I'm, not going to be quote unquote successful or make tons of money and things. Like I'll figure out something else, but in a way that I can actually be who I am.
Yeah, and your soul is very fierce. Like she's a badass. And not in a like in a very graceful way. Like she's saying like we are not squirrel energy, babe. We are horse energy, which is really interesting because we're entering the year of the fire horse, so it feels like extra exciting for you, but you are horse energy. You walk into a room and you could be silent and people feel and see your wisdom and feel and see your vibration and impact. And so I don't know if that visual helps you, but like moving out of that squirrel energy and into that horse energy, she is like, no, we are wise, we are beautiful, we are divine, like we have information, we are here to help people. That word play that I think you used to describe your business, I think it doesn't feel like the perfect word, and I think that it's a stage and a chapter for you to bridge into that wisdom. And there's something that with that she's like, yes, play, but like also like we're not playing around type type energy. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my
Um,
gosh, Brooke, I love that. I think that's really confronting probably for you, Gina, but I can also see that it makes sense to you. Um,
yeah, I have to share this horse theme in my life. Christina knows this, but the first time I ever saw a psychic was at prom in high school. So
Oh my
very,
God, I love that.
very legitimate.
Exactly.
And the only thing I mean, you know, that was so many years ago. The only thing I remember from that reading was she looked at me and she was like, I don't know what it is, but like the thing that I see clearest in your future is horses. She was like, and I was like,
mm,
how is that? I'm going to the city. That's not happening. And it's been funny to unravel these last 5 years how horses have been showing up in my life. And even this being the horse year. And I'm like,
Hmm.
what is something is up with me and
Hmm.
horses?
Yeah.
and Gina, share about how we met, where we met.
And well, there's like, so, I mean, I could go on with like 20 stories on horses, but
Yeah.
Christina and my first reading with Christina happened to be surrounded by horses. I don't know how you would describe it, Christina, but there were two horses right there next to us during my first reading with Christina. And it was the most beautiful day and the most beautiful, magical moment probably in my life.
Aw. I
I
love that. I feel like they hold answers for you that you're not ready to to grab for yourself yet. So like if you could go be with a horse, I don't know how possible that is for you, but if
Very simple.
okay, excellent, great. See, life has led you to this moment, but you could go and almost use them as like your path into channeling or your path into to gaining answers that are in your field and communicating with your guides. Like they feel like an entry point for you, so you could go be with a horse, ask the questions, the information comes through the horse. Like it's very important that you're close to their face, close to their eyes, but allow the information to come through them because it feels like it might be more acceptable for you, easier to access. You already see and know their wisdom and how majestic and magical they are until that wisdom becomes something that you're channeling and bringing in for yourself.
Mhm. I got a really clear directive if you want some direct feedback. Your spirit is saying right now you're helping shine others, right? Like which is part of your gift, right? Absolutely. Like you learn about others, you put them in front, you like hype it up and it's beautiful. But there's this whole thing where you're also very sassy, where you can speak equally about things you do not like and things that feel wrong to you and things that hit your intuition and say absolutely not, and things that piss you off, make you angry. And that can be in a huge realm of things. You know, I'm not seeing necessarily you taking politics to your platform in this moment, but I'm saying that as a way to be like, you know, what really gets you fired up on the opposite side of like, this didn't work. And you don't have to also be afraid of hurting anyone's feelings. Maybe you don't have to name the people or experience that you had, but it's just as important for people to trust you, to say not everything is wonderful that you go and experience and not everything is great in every connection you had. Your intuition is actually saying, you know what, that connection didn't feel as great. And I don't want to know that I want to get on my platform and
Yeah.
say all the things that were good. Actually, I just want to say things that I learned that felt like a no without putting anyone down, because you won't. You're just not that person. So that's what's missing in this moment that your soul's saying.
Your guides are literally like
Yeah.
clapping at Christina as she's talking. Um,
Like thinking about that a lot lately, which is funny. So they've been trying to tell me that, and I've been
Yeah.
noticing.
and
Yeah.
I think in general it's a call for more depth. Overall, like all these signals, all this information Christina and I are getting, it's a call for more depth and to give yourself permission to to be in those depths. I know, I'm sure, especially as a mother, a wife, a partner, like someone starting a new business, like we tend to just try and keep ourselves at this specific vibration and try and hold it together for everyone. And you know, we're looking forward and everything's perspective, right? And like that's all good to a degree, but it's like a little too much of that. And we need to go deeper. Like you are a very deep person. You have a lot of wisdom that you have access to automatically. You have a lot of wisdom that you've gained over your experiences. You have really deep perspectives on things. And how can you allow yourself to be in those more, to feel those more, and then to let those come up through your throat and use your voice to share them because they're very important.
Hmm. And on the note of the guides clapping, let's go and ascend higher into that guide world and take a look at what your guides are coming through. Your grandmother always comes through, which is so funny, but she's also taking a step back a little bit. There's someone in your world, and I don't even know if it's like a real person you knew, because they're not showing me what gender they are, and but they're a traveler, and they cannot be more clear about something again that's like a paradox of what you're doing, which is get out of Serenbe more. Go experience things, even if it's just a weekend away somewhere, and go with girlfriends or just Greg or, like family that you've been wanting to connect with. I'll go with you, girl, anytime. And go like play outside of Serenbe, because when you come home, there's an arrival that allows you to have this like love and appreciation for home, but you have to get out of it. And that's come up before, I know, for you. But you had like the wedding to travel to, like you had excuses. And right now you're not giving yourself enough excuses
Well,
to.
that's why things come up in 2 months.
Great. That's true. You're going to Tahoe, you're going to Colorado. That's great. But that's also like even Colorado, it's a home for you.
Yeah.
Like that's something
You
we're
go to
talking about.
Mexico?
That's true. We're talking about really shaking it up.
Okay.
Like not necessarily being invited to something, because those are all things that are on your plate that you've just said yes
Mhm.
to. This is about creating an opportunity of something you're like, you know what? I've always wanted to do that thing, and that sounds a little crazy, but I'm going to do it and I'm going to make it happen, or I'm going to find a generator to go and make that happen for me so that you can say yes. But you putting out ideas that are new for you is very important. So absolutely, that is great for your guides are like, absolutely. So yeah, there's this traveler guide. I feel like it starts with M. Do you know anyone whose name is M that you looked up to that traveled a lot? It might make sense later.
I'll have to think on it.
Okay.
And Miss Mary is my grandma, is the first name, but
M is
that's not
M is
it.
what?
Mary is my grandma, but she didn't travel.
Oh, okay, that
She,
makes
she,
sense though.
she might
Why
want you
she
to
came
do the
through and she's
traveling
like,
for
no.
her. She's like, we're ready to go, babe. I'm
Yeah.
here for the ride.
Yeah. Have her
Yeah.
pack your suitcase.
But to kind of play off that, like what I'm hearing from your guides is they're ready for the your next evolution, the next chapter, and they keep coming back to that word play. The word, and sorry, I don't know how much this is a part of your business or your life right now,
Yeah.
but they keep saying like, okay, play was what was a starting point, right? But like, what's the evolution of that?
Yeah.
There's something around adventure, around exploration. The word magnetism keeps coming up. Like, I feel like you're ultimately like you are going to be displaying and sharing and showing the path and the lifestyle and the energy to live to magnetize, to allow people to magnetize. You're going to magnetize the things you want, the life you want, and you're going to redefine what all of that means also along the way, right? But that this word magnetize feels really important to you. And it's like you are showcasing, I see you showcasing, this is how you play, live and flow, explore, have adventure, live a life of ease, and magnetize the things and the life that is meant for you.
That sticks so much. A lot. Yeah. I always thought of last year was my theme was play. I always even struggled with what I call this thing I'm doing, but I've been thinking of like this next stuff, and I've been thinking of the journey that like if someone was stuck or was where I was, that I could share back of like my lived
Yes.
experiences.
Mhm.
And I've even jotted down like an outline of what it is I want to build. And that name in 1 second is so much closer to what it is than anything that I've been brainstorming of like I've struggled with like what is that path though, that I want to walk people through. Like, what am I trying to get them to? Like, I'm not trying to convince everyone to leave corporate, but it's like, whatever your version of my story is, like, I have tools that I'd love to share. And,
Yeah, and you're living it right now too, they're saying. Like,
yes, I'm
Yes.
in the middle. Yeah,
you
we'll
are, like,
always
this
be in the
is
middle
the
of it.
framework. Yeah, it's both. It's like this is the framework and this is the mess of where I'm in. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
just gonna put the mess in there.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
again, like they're just validating you've done a great job of this, but there's a depth that you're not
Yeah.
accessing yet.
And it's so funny. They're like getting sassy now. They're like, honey, you
Yeah.
you are going to change, like give yourself space to pivot because there's so much change
Uh-huh.
coming. Like you are on the journey and it's really beautiful. And like almost like you're not going to have the answer to what the end result is at the moment because it you're just living it. And so let it give yourself the permission to put something out there and then shift and pivot as you change because that's part of the beauty too is how quickly you change and how quickly you allow and settle into those new versions of yourself also.
Hmm. And a gift they want to give you that they're showing me very clearly is this like magnifying glass, but then it turned into a kaleidoscope. So they have
I
actually
love that.
they're back to you a little because they're looking out into the horizon and then they're sort of looking back being like, "Come here. Look." And when you look through the magnifying glass, you like want to look down to see something small and it's like, "No, look up." And then it's this kaleidoscope and there's this like whole world of color and wonder and adventure and it doesn't really make sense like these fractals of colors you're like but give me the magnifying glass. I want to focus. Like I want to see this like beautiful butterfly under the microscope. And it's like, no, there's like multi dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
You are not a linear
Mm-hmm.
being, Gina. You are very
Mm-hmm.
multi-dimensional. And so they're giving you this gift of a kaleidoscope and kind of shifting the magnifying glass.
Yes. And overall, it's like you're not do there's so much beauty, so much big boldness, so much energy out there for you. Like, and you're not doing anything wrong, but as you're probably feeling and why you're pulled in a bunch of directions, why you're feeling the chaos, the chaotic energy is like you just need to bring more depth to it. You need to settle into the depth. You need to give yourself permission. You need to allow the shifts to happen and not have to have it all figured out and all together. Um, yeah, there's nothing you're doing wrong. It's just like, okay, it's time to like you got to that level. It's time to bring it to the next level, which has more depth, more wisdom, more peace, more space for shift and changing, and more you in it, more of the next layer of the truest version of you.
And they know we're closing out. So the last thing that they want to say is like, there's at least four of them, and they're like, you haven't even met us yet. Like, come spend more time in your spiritual practice, in your spiritual world. There's more guides that you are meant to build an intimate relationship with and communicate with because they're like, we'll give you the answer. We're
Mhm.
always here, but when are you spending time with us? Like, come here. And they're really inviting. What? What's that?
Called out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because it's a huge part and it's a huge part of how you even got to where you are today and they're sort of like we've been waiting behind these doors. Like come walk through the doors and meet us and bring a practice into these realms. It doesn't even have to be spiritual. It's like quantum physics, Gina. Like you have access to a leaps of quantum leaps that you think it's more earth than it is. So that's their
Mhm.
final message. We want to hear from you of what your takeaway is. Try not to look down at your page of your notes. Just get into your heart. You can close your eyes and take a deep breath if you need. Put your hand on your body, and it doesn't have to be profound or long-winded. Anything. Just tell us what happened.
Um,
Tell us what you didn't like. We don't, just try it.
no, that was beautiful. Thank you guys. I don't know, a lot. I took away a lot of takeaways from,
How do you feel?
Hmm.
I feel fine, good, not like, I don't know. I feel like I was very jittery at the beginning. That has gone away. Now I feel
Hmm.
very calm, grounded, for lack of better terms, very just at ease. Everything like makes sense. And a lot of times I feel like when I go into a reading, I'm always like, I know that. I know, yes, I know that. I've heard that. Yes. Okay, we need to focus there. And not just get pulled in the excitement or whatever's just in front of my face. It all makes a lot of sense. Um, the thing that I guess like I'm most excited about from this is opening that chapter of, or the message that came through strongest for me was, I guess almost it feels like I have permission to like go and start this, what you called, what did you call it? Not manifestation, this
The magnetizing. Yeah.
magnetism, like that really resonated with me, where I've been struggling around, like, I think play is a part of it, one of the stepping stools, but like, where is the destination? Like, where are we going
Hmm.
towards? Like, what's the journey I'm taking people on? That really resonated with me. And I'm actually excited to go back and look at my notes and see if that word is hidden in the outline I was talking about that I've already been working on for that. And to be honest, like it's a project I got fueled by probably in November and then like have had it on my list every week since and haven't been putting the time into that just because it's a big meaty one that I'll have to sit down with. Also hearing it loud and clear that like I keep saying I want to have like get back in my meditation practice, get back in my channeling practice, whatever that practice is of like having that quiet moment. And I've just had excuse on excuse of not making time for it. So I'm hearing very long, very loud right now. Like, make space before your kids wake up, Gina. Go do that. Go make the time. I've been playing around in those psychic circles I've been doing, and like I feel like I've come so far from what my meditation practice had used to be when I was doing it consistently that I'm actually excited and kind of eager to do that consistently. Um, what else? I I guess right now I'm like, there was like a part where you were saying, I said it before, of there's some truth or something like in you that you're not speaking. And like, I wish in my head I like knew what that was. And right now I'm like, what is that thing?
Well,
But
you're not gonna know it in your
yeah,
head. You're gonna say no. You're gonna know it in your heart. The horse might be the first one to tell you, but
yeah,
it's not coming from your head.
yeah.
Um,
We have,
That's a
go
big,
ahead.
scary revelation, you know, it has to
Yeah,
do with that depth. I want to just acknowledge too, as we close out, like the softness that is and how beautiful you are right now. Your face is completely relaxed. Your body is
mhm,
like totally through. When you just spoke from a place just now and summing it up, like you were so clear and so softened and didn't need a smile on your face, but you were magnetic. And so I hope you look
mhm,
back at this and watch how you've transformed and being in this realm. And thank you for giving yourself the time and the space in these 30 minutes that you've set aside to drop in. It's better together. We're honored to be here. We are here to support you if you are struggling to get into your spiritual practice, quantum physics practice, meditation practice. Do it with someone. That's good for you. You have you're open in that way. So before we leave, we like to ask everyone, speaking of your intuition and being
mhm.
being and practicing your intuition, what is your psychic party trick? What is something that you feel like is a little magical about your world?
oh, I didn't know. The first thing that's coming to my mind has just been always like my strongest thing is like my gut usually knows like
Mhm.
right away on meeting someone, on being in a situation. There's just that weird tingly feeling, or that like something's wrong with one of the kids, or that we shouldn't go somewhere, we should go somewhere. So it doesn't feel like a party trick, but it feels like
No, it is.
I don't know, my secret weapon.
It's
Love
a don't
that.
go to the party trick.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Again, we love you, and we're really excited to see what unfolds.